Am I the a-hole for ending my marriage because I didn't want to force my kids to live with my wife's oldest daughter again? So I, 42M, have been married to my wife, 39F, for 7 years. We both came into the marriage with kids from previous relationships. I have 2 sons, 14M and 12M, and she has 2 daughters, 19F and 9F. When we first blended families, it was rocky, but I thought we were making it work. The problem has always been her oldest daughter, Kayla. Kayla was 12 when I met her, and to put it lightly, she never accepted me or my kids. At first, I chalked it up to typical preteen resentment. Divorce sucks, and I didn't expect her to warm up overnight. But as the years went on, Kayla's behavior escalated. She was cruel to my sons. Mocked them, hid their things, locked them out of the house, lied to her mom about them. There were times she'd instigate fights and then paint herself as the victim. My wife admitted Kayla could be difficult, but her default response was always, "She's been through so much, just give her grace." I tried. God knows I tried. But my sons reached a point where they dreaded being at home when Kayla was around. We eventually agreed Kayla would stay with her dad full-time when she was 16. And honestly, that's when our household became livable again. My boys relaxed, started inviting friends over, and my younger stepdaughter became closer to them without the constant drama. Fast forward to now. Kayla is 19, and apparently she's been having issues at her dad's place. She dropped out of college, doesn't have a job, and according to my wife, she needs a stable home to get back on her feet, which, in her mind, means Kayla moving back in with us. I told my wife flat out, no, I can't put my kids back into the same toxic environment. They're teenagers now, and they remember everything. My oldest even told me, "Dad, if she comes back, I don't want to live here anymore." When I explained this to my wife, she accused me of choosing my kids over her daughter. I said, damn right I am. My responsibility is to protect my kids, not to sacrifice their peace because her adult daughter doesn't want to grow up. We went in circles, but ultimately I told her if she insisted on bringing Kayla back, I couldn't stay in this marriage. She said I was being heartless and that marriage is supposed to mean compromise. But to me, compromise doesn't mean forcing my children to live with someone who made their lives miserable for years. So, am I the a-hole for choosing to end my marriage rather than force my sons to live with my wife's daughter again? After that fight, things went downhill fast. My wife and I barely spoke for a week. The tension in the house was unbearable, like we were just waiting for something to break. Then one night, she came into our room and told me she'd already told Kayla she could move in. No discussion, no compromise, just a decision she made on her own. She said she wasn't going to abandon her daughter, and that if I wanted to leave, then I should just go. That hit me like a punch in the gut. It wasn't just about Kayla anymore. It was about trust and respect. I told her she went behind my back and that she put me in an impossible position with my kids. She said she knew I'd never agree, so she had to do what was right as a mother. My oldest overheard the argument and came out of his room. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Dad, please don't make us live with her again." My younger son nodded behind him. I swear that broke me. I felt like I was being forced to choose between my kids' well-being and my marriage. And for me, there was no contest. So I told my wife I would move out with my sons. She started crying, saying I was blowing things out of proportion and that things would be different this time. But she had said that before, every single time Kayla hurt my boys, and it never changed. Word spread to the rest of the family pretty quickly. Her relatives think I'm the asshole for walking away instead of helping Kayla when she's at her lowest. They keep saying, "She's just a kid who lost her way. You're the adult. You should be patient." Meanwhile, my family and friends are on my side. My sister even said, "You'd be a bad dad if you stayed and let your boys get walked all over again." Now my wife keeps begging me to reconsider. She says she'll set rules for Kayla and make sure things don't get toxic again. But my sons don't trust that for a second, and honestly, neither do I. So here I am, sleeping on the couch some nights, looking up apartments the next. I feel like I already made my decision, but the guilt and pressure from her family makes me question if I'm really doing the right thing. I finally pulled the trigger. I told my wife I couldn't keep dragging it out and that I was filing for separation. I made it clear it wasn't a bluff. It wasn't about punishing her. It was about protecting my sons. I found a small rental house about 20 minutes away. Not glamorous, but it's ours. The day we moved out, my boys were quiet. Like they didn't quite believe it was happening until we were loading their stuff into the car. When we got to the new place, though, my youngest actually smiled and said, "It feels safe here." That hit me hard. I realized just how much they'd been carrying all these years. My wife didn't take it well. She accused me of abandoning our marriage over a teenager who isn't even here yet. She said Kayla was devastated and felt unwanted because of me. I told her Kayla wasn't my responsibility anymore. She's 19, an adult, and if she needs help, there are plenty of options besides moving back into a house where she terrorized 2 kids. The legal side has been messy. Since neither of us is contesting custody, my sons aren't biologically hers, and they're old enough to express where they want to live. It's pretty straightforward on my end, but the property division and finances are a whole other storm I'll have to wade through. The weirdest part is how differently people treat me now. My family is proud of me. They say I finally put my kids first. My boys have even been opening up more. My oldest told me, "I was scared you'd pick her over us, but you didn't." That nearly broke me, because I never realized how deeply he doubted it. On the flip side, my wife's family has gone scorched earth. Her sister called me a coward. Her mom said I'm teaching my sons to give up instead of working through problems. But in my mind, there's a difference between working through problems and knowingly putting your kids back into a damaging situation. My wife keeps sending me long texts late at night, swinging between begging me to come back and lashing out that I chose my kids over my marriage. And honestly, that's the part that confirms I made the right choice. Because the way I see it, any partner who asks me to put them above my children never really had my back in the first place. Still, I'd be lying if I said I don't miss her. I loved her, and I loved the family we could have been. But love isn't enough if it means sacrificing my kids' peace of mind. It's been about 6 months since I walked away, and a lot has changed. The divorce is almost finalized. The paperwork dragged on longer than I wanted. But at this point, I'm just relieved there's a finish line in sight. We agreed to sell the house and split the equity. She's keeping the younger daughter, 9F, and I get my boys full-time. The custody piece was simple, since my sons made it crystal clear to the court that they wanted to live with me. Life in the rental has been surprisingly good. My sons are different kids now, lighter, happier, less on edge. My oldest has started applying to colleges and actually lets his friends come over. My youngest got into basketball at school and is thriving. I didn't realize how much tension they'd been carrying until I saw them without it. That alone tells me I made the right choice. As for my ex-wife, she's still angry, but I think reality is setting in. Kayla did end up moving back in with her. From what I've heard through mutual friends, it's been rough. Kayla still doesn't have a job, still clashes with her mom, and spends most of her time sulking around. The irony is that my wife blew up our marriage to bring her daughter back, and it hasn't even worked out the way she imagined. Her family still paints me as the villain, but honestly, I don't care anymore. For a long time, I let the guilt eat at me, like I was a quitter, like I'd failed as a husband. But now, watching my sons relax and thrive, I know I didn't fail. I chose the role I had to prioritize, being their dad. The truth is, I do miss some things. I miss the good days when my wife and I felt like a team, when our blended family seemed like it might actually work. I miss having a partner to share the load with. But I don't miss the constant fighting, the resentment, or the way my kids' faces looked when Kayla made them miserable. Do I regret leaving? No. It hurts, but it's a clean hurt, a wound that's healing. Staying would have been a slow poison for all of us. So, am I the a-hole? Honestly, I don't think so anymore. I think I was a dad who had to make the hardest choice and picked the only option I could live with. If this story kept you hooked, give it a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more.